actually, before we start, can you all go and grab, if you've got one, a book? Can you grab a book? It's exciting, isn't it? Any kind of book. Or a block, if you've got a block. Something like this. Just that you can rest on your hand. That's what we're going to be doing, just resting it on our hands. So it doesn't have to be like super heavy.
It's frozen.
Okay, everyone got something?
Yeah.
And just have it to hand and place it nearby.
I'll keep losing you. I'll keep getting Mrs. Kelly on.
Okay, so I'm going to mute you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, and then if you need anything, give me a wave. All right, good. Okay, let's start by just finding mountain pose. So we're going to start just settling into this foundation, this standing position. And just closing the eyes for a moment. And let's just begin with stillness today. And we can take our awareness to the soles of the feet, spreading across the ground. And we can start to get a sense of the whole body, the legs, the hips, pelvis, spine, rib cage, heart, shoulders, arms, hands, fingers, the neck, the head, the crown of the head. And just taking a moment to really inhabit that whole space, the whole of the body. And tuning into the breath, the movement, the lungs, the diaphragm, rib cage, the feeling of the breath, the journey as it moves into and out of the body, at the nose, as we breathe in, breath moving through the nose, down the throat, into the lungs, following that journey into the body, following it back out. Feeling the weight of the body in the soles of the feet. And just taking a moment without judgment to acknowledge anything that's going on for you mentally, emotionally, any feelings, just noticing what's going on. And we don't need to intellectualize it, we're just recognizing. Observing, accepting. And knowing that these things are transient feelings, emotions, thoughts, pass, they come, they go. Things change. Feeling of the ground beneath the feet. Feeling the whole of the body. feeling the breath. And then we'll softly blink the eyes open and start to bring movement to the body with our tapping. So let's start tapping from the thumb and coming all the way along the top of the arm and up and underneath the arm, working our way along to the heel of the hand and the little finger. And then taking it from the middle finger second time around. And up and underneath the arm. It looks like you can see us, Kelly. I hope you can. And then we'll take it to the other side when you're ready. From the thumb. All the way along the top of the arm. Underneath the arm. All the way along heel of the hand and little finger. Good. Middle finger second time around to shoulder. A sense of how your body feels as we bring more movement. Let's take the head over to one side, cross the arm over the body, find that gentle stretch down the side of the neck, and then we can tap into that stretch starting behind the ear, coming all the way down the side of the neck and into the shoulder. Breath flowing freely all the way back up to just behind the ear. We'll do that one more time. Down the side of the neck, into the shoulder, and then back up to just behind the ear. When you're ready, take it to the other side. Release the head, find that gentle stretch, cross the arm over the body. Just working your way down into the connective tissues, the muscles, tendons, all the way to the shoulder and then back up. Noticing any areas of tension, discomfort. You can spend longer on those areas. Don't feel like you have to keep up. Make this your practice. Make this practice work for you. Good. And then we'll take the arm out stretched, support the elbow so we can reach right back to the upper back muscles. Round the back of the neck, round the shoulder. You all right, Kelly? Can you see? No. Oh, you can? Good. And then when you're ready, take it to the other side. Arm out stretched. Good. That's it. Lovely. Just as vigorous as you feel you need today, or maybe you want to go gentle. It's completely up to you. Wonderful. And then we'll bring fingertips up to the crown of the head, wake up the crown. Dropping chin to chest, work fingertips down the back of the head to find the dip at the nape of the neck, work the fingertips into that dip. And then keep working down the back of the neck as far as you can, reach the elbows up high. And then back up the neck and around to the sides of the ears. And then you can just cover the whole surface of the head, cover the whole surface. And to the forehead, tapping down the forehead. All the way down to that spot between the eyebrows. As we tap between the eyebrows, let's take a deep inhale through the nose. And sigh it out to release. Fingertips working along the eyebrows to the temples. And back into the midline. Gently over the eyelids. Bridge of the nose, working your way along the cheekbones out towards the ears. As you hit the top of the cheekbones, take another deep inhale. And sighing it out to release. Fingertips down the face, top lip, bottom lip, along the jaw. Lift the gaze without crunching into the back of the neck. Work the fingertips down the front of the neck to find the dip at the throat. Work the fingertips into that dip. And then finding the hollows underneath the collarbones. Tapping into those hollows. Another deep breath in through the nose. And sigh it out. Fingertips across the chest or fists, whatever feels good. Good. And then one hand to the heart, one to the solar plexus, tapping up and down. And round to the sides of the ribs. Up and underneath the arms as far as you can go. And round the back of the ribs. And we'll start to tap from the top of the right leg, tapping up the right hand side of the stomach, across the top, down the left hand side, across the bottom, nice big circles. That's great. And then taking one hand over the other, just following those circles around, smoothing and calming. Good. And then to the hips, wake up the hips. Lovely. Back of the hips, sides of the hips, front of the hips, into the glutes. And then the lower back. And then we can work our way up the back as far as we can go, as far as is comfortable. Look at the backs of the ribs again. And then coming back down, and we'll take an inhale as we reach up and stretch out. And exhale to tap down thighs, calves, feet and toes. And lightly working your way up the inside of the leg, up and over the pelvis. And we'll do that one more time. Breathing in, reach up, stretch out. Breathe out as you tap down thighs and calves, feet and toes. Lightly working your way up the inside of the leg, up and over the pelvis. Good. And we'll smooth off the arms all the way to the fingertips. And shake out the hands. And smooth off the legs all the way to the toes. And shake out the feet. Ankles. Loosen up those ankles. All those tiny little bones in the feet. Then make sure you've got some room to move as you twist gently to begin with, and then you can maybe make that a bit bigger. Pivoting on the foot that you're moving away from. Good, that's great. If it feels good, use your hands across your abdomen, your lower back as you twist. Maybe breathing a little deeper, feeling the air moving across the skin. We can use hands across chest and mid-back. We can take the hand all the way over the shoulder, look down behind us if that feels good, deepening the twist. And then we'll slow it down. And we'll come to standstill. Place the feet down carefully. Hip distance apart, soften the knees, lift the crown of the head, close the eyes, come back to stillness. Perhaps you can notice some of the energy you've just created in the body. Tingling in the fingertips or the palms of the hands, the arms, maybe the rest of the body. How does the body feel? How does the breath feel? Noticing again the quality of the mind. Observe the effects of the movement on the body, on the mind, on the breath. Just noting with curiosity any changes. No right, no wrong, no good or bad. And then we'll softly blink the eyes open. And we're going to bring the arms out into this position. So it's like you're holding a tray. I'm going to stand diagonally so you can see. We're just going to start to bring some movement into the wrists. So we're going to think about making a circle at the wrist, and the hands are relaxed. But what we're trying to do is keep the forearms still. So imagine that you've got 50p's balanced on your forearms that you don't want to lose, and move from the wrist. So not from the elbow, the forearm doesn't twist. And in that way, we're starting to really get to know the capability of the wrist, how it feels to move it. And we're sending signals to the brain about the capability of the wrist. So we're not using the elbow to help that movement. We're really just focusing on where we can move in the wrist with no help from the rest of the body. So let's take those circles in the other direction. So they might be smaller circles, they might not be circles even. How does it feel? Where's your range? Where can you move? Where is it more challenging? Okay, we're going to come back to centre. So we've got our hands in these loose fists, almost like fingertips pinching together. And we're going to roll the hands towards you, up. That's it. So you might feel a little bit of a forearm stretch, and then roll the hands down and pull the fingertips back. So again, forearms aren't moving, we're just rolling the fingertips up and curling the hand into a fist, and then rolling down and opening the fingertips out. Spread the fingertips wide. It's like you're trying to pull the fingertips back towards you. Let's do a couple more. So fingertips come in towards each other, loose fist, curling up. Good, flexing the wrist and then opening out the fingers, extending fingertips down towards the floor, pulling them towards you. Good. Okay, so then we'll start to bring elbow in. So relax the hands again, and we're going to turn. So the palms face down, palms face up. And this movement is coming from the elbow. So now the wrists don't twist, they don't move. You're just moving from the elbow. Palms face down, palms face up. Palms face down, good. Palms face up. Okay, let's have fun. Palms face up. Bring the fingertips up towards the shoulders. Just lightly touch the shoulders, good. And then bring them back down, turn the palms down, bring the hands up to the shoulders. So we're bringing the hands down and turning, and then bringing them back up again. Good. And bringing them down and turning, and bringing them back up again. That's great. And then bring the hands down to your sides and start to bring some rotation in at the shoulder. So we're turning the top of the arm bone in the shoulder socket, rotating in, rotating out, and in and out. Good, that's great. So start with it being quite small and just in arm bone turning in the socket. And we will make it bigger, but just thinking about that arm bone moving. And we're just going to keep it quite small as we move the arms up towards shoulder height. So we're just turning and rotating as we move the arms up little by little. Good. So and then they'll come to shoulder height, and we're turning, just arm bone in the socket. Good. And then we're going to turn one palm to face up, one is to face down, and we're going to switch. So one palm up, one palm down. One palm up, one palm down. And then start to look towards the upturned palm. Looking towards the upturned palm. And switch. And switch. Good. And switch. Good. Both palms face up and we'll look forwards. And then both palms face down. Bring the fingertips into those pinchy fingers again. Take an inhale as you bring the hands towards the shoulders. Big exhale out through the mouth as you push away. Good. We'll do that a few times. Breathing in. Hands towards shoulders. You might feel the shoulder blades into the back and whoosh it out with the breath. Couple more. Good, that's great. One more. Lovely. Okay, bring the hands back down to your sides. Bring that rotation back in. Arm rotating in the shoulder socket. Breath returning to its natural rate. We start to make it bigger. So bring in your shoulder blades now. Can you feel your shoulder blades slide forwards and back? And we can start to make a bit more of an exaggerated movement with the hands, back of the hands coming together. Good. And then opening out, chest lifting. And then maybe we can start to bring in the spine if that feels good. So bend the knees and we can make it into a cat-cow. So we're rounding and looking down and then arching and looking up. And the arms, the shoulders, the spine are all moving together now. And you can bring in the breath. So exhaling as you round and inhaling as you lift and lengthen, and noticing how that movement of the breath works with the movement of the body. So lungs filling as you lift the chest and there's space in the rib cage, and then as you round, that helps you to exhale fully and completely. Let's do a couple more. Inhaling and exhaling. One more time. Inhaling and exhaling. And then let's come back to neutral. Come back to mountain pose. Come back to stillness. If it helps to close the eyes, close the eyes. Notice the feeling of the body, the sensation. And then softly blinking the eyes open, keep the breath flowing. We're just going to follow the breath with our hands. So as we inhale, we're just going to open the arms out. And this is just to give us some movement with the breath so that we can start to feel into that expansion sideways, rib cage expanding as you breathe in, like your hands. And as you breathe out, the rib cage is drawing together, expelling the breath. Inhaling, ribcage expanding, exhaling. Find that almost squeeze together. Good. So just work with your own breath. Soft movement. Mirroring the movement of the ribcage. Last one. On the next inhale, float the arms all the way up. And as we exhale, let's release forwards and down over the legs. Coming into our forward fold. Bend the knees as much as you need. Bring the fingertips or the palms of the hands to the ground. You can take the feet a bit wider if that feels more comfortable, allows more release through the spine, upper back, back of the neck. And then bring the hands to the shins to lengthen, look forwards, find your half forward fold, half lift. Lengthening from the tailbone to the crown of the head, the back of the neck is long. We're going to come back to this same feeling in the spine later. So really just take note of it. Find that memory. How does it feel? And then we'll bring the fingertips down to the ground. We're going to walk back to plank. You can take as many steps as you need. Little steps back, or one big step, two big steps. Slowly, you don't need to rush. Find your plank position. And if you need to drop the knees down straight away, that's fine. But we're keeping the arms strong and the weight forwards. So plank is working on our shoulders. So it does feel strong on the shoulders, the wrists, and it's also core. So you've got this tightness here between hip points and rib cage that's shortening. So the bum doesn't go back, it comes forwards. The lower back is long, and it's almost like you're shortening that space between the hips and the rib cage, and you're looking slightly forwards. It's not easy. It's not easy plank, is it? There's probably some resistance in your mind even, as well as your body, going, I don't really like it, I don't want to do it. If there's pain in the wrist, obviously you don't have to suffer that. You can roll up the top of your mat, soften that angle in the wrist, or you can choose to come down onto your forearms. But by coming into plank, using plank, we're starting to build progressively strength in the shoulders, in the wrists. So we're just going to hold it a little bit longer today, looking slightly forwards. And really noticing, without rushing through it as one of those things we have to do, what's really going on in your body when you come into this position. Which parts of the body find it more challenging? And then we'll slowly start to lower down to the ground. So we bend the elbows to lay ourselves softly down on the ground. And when we get to the ground, we're going to bring our hands into a cactus shape, arms into cactus shape, and you're just going to rest for a moment, forehead on the ground, arms in this cactus shape, elbows in line with shoulders, wrists in line with elbows. And just find the breath. Again, and notice the effect that plank has on your body. I don't know, I'm really out of breath now, probably because I've been talking, but maybe you feel that too. Do you feel warmer? Is your heart beating faster? Is the breath deeper? And in this position, with the arms in this cactus shape, can you start to let go now and just allow the body to release in towards the ground? So it's completely opposite, isn't it, of what we've just done in plank, where we're holding ourselves stable and strong. And then suddenly we can allow ourselves to release into the ground and let go of all of that effort. And notice the difference between those two approaches to equally important things for our body. And we're going to start to firm up the legs. Make sure all 10 toes are pressing down on the ground. And press the hip bones into the ground. And we'll start to work into our low cobra. We're going to keep the arms in this position as we lift up into our low cobra. So you don't have to be lifting up super high. The lower ribs are still on the ground. Arms are still in cactus shape. As we exhale, we're going to lower down. Forehead towards the ground. Elbow and wrist touch down at the same time. We're going to do 4 more with your breath. Inhale as you lift. Keep toes down, keep hips down. Exhale as you release. Following the breath. inhaling, lifting, exhaling, releasing. And when you finish those 5, resting the arms on the ground again. Bring one cheek to the mat. Come back to that sense of release into the ground beneath you. The ground holding you. You holding the ground holding you. Bring the other cheek to the mat. Notice how that feels in the neck. Maybe it feels different on one side to the other. Noticing that difference. And then slowly bring the forehead back down to the ground, the hands lightly underneath the shoulders. And let's push back to tabletop position. So just pushing yourself back up to tabletop. In your tabletop, firming up the arms again. So push the ground away from you to give yourself space in the wrists, in the shoulders, the elbows. That's great. The spine has got a sense of stability, even though it's got its natural curves. We're going to start to bring our weight onto the right hand. And just tuck that left foot behind you as we stretch the left leg out and reach the left fingertips up. I hope I said that the correct right and left. So right foot is behind. That's it. We're coming onto the right hand. So we're in this side plank, half side plank. And just thinking about this line of load from the right hand, wrist, elbow, shoulder, going across to the left shoulder, all the way up to the left fingertips. So that gives us stability. And then we can have a play with lifting up that left foot, if that feels good, but you don't have to do it. You can keep it on the ground. Maybe this is enough. So have a play around with that. How does it feel to lift the foot off the ground? You're good, Mum. And then bring the foot back down and let's circle the arm, stretch it right overhead. Let's make some nice big circles with the arm. Good. Lovely. Let's bring the hand all the way back down to the ground and bring yourself back to tabletop. And reset. Fingers are spread wide. We're pressing more into the pads of the hands than the wrists. We've got that stability in the arms. Tucking the left foot behind you so you can stretch the right leg out. And take that half side plank on the other side. Reaching the right fingertips up high. Good. And you might want to lift that right leg up. That's it. Does it feel stable to do that? That's it. Have a play around with it. You've got that line of load, wrist, shoulder to the other shoulder. Maybe you want to look up to the top fingertips. Good. Then let's bring the foot to the ground, a bit more stable. And then we can start to circle the arm. Really finding that length and space in the side of the body as we do that. Breath flowing freely. Good. And then bring the hand all the way back down to the ground, back into tabletop. And we're going to come up onto our knees. Come off the wrists for a minute. It's probably enough for the wrists, isn't it? If you want to give them a shake out, give them a shake out. Good. So let's bring the right foot forwards and bring the hands either side of the front foot to come into a longer lunge than maybe we normally do. So often I'll just bring us into a lunge where the front leg is at a right angle, but maybe move that front foot forwards a little bit. So we're getting a bit of a stretch across the front of the hip. So it's a bit more of a hippie lunge. But the chest is still moving forwards. We're not all hunched up. You don't have to make it your maximum. We're not trying to get into the splits. And then we're going to float the right fingertips up to take our twist. So what happens is the chest starts to open up to the side into that knee as you reach those right fingertips up high. Good. Now what we can do here to give ourselves a little bit more tactile feedback is we can take those right fingertips and reach underneath for the left rib cage. Just feel the left rib cage, and then you can gently encourage it back into the twist. So we're not pulling or forcing, we're just getting that tactile feedback, and then once you've got that, you can float the fingertips back up into the air. Maybe once again looking up to those fingertips if that feels good in the neck. Good. And then bring the hand back down to the floor. We're going to start to straighten the front leg out and come up, back onto the knee. So we're in this position with this front leg straight, and we're going to flex the foot towards the face. Let's bring the hands to the hips. If you need to cushion underneath your knee, if it starts to get uncomfortable on this knee because the weight, just cushion the knee with your mat or put a blanket underneath it. Hands to hips, and we're just going to start to work into a forward fold here. So think about chest moving forwards and keeping the spine long. This is a hamstring stretch, so maybe you felt that already. For me, I feel it straight away. It's like switched on hamstrings. If you've got super flexible hamstrings, you might want to bring your fingertips down to the floor. But what I find if I do that, can you see how I've kind of compromised this space that I had in the spine? So I'm not going to do it. Just going to keep my hands on my hips. See what feels best for you in the spine. So you're getting the hamstring stretch, but you're still getting that space and length in the spine at the same time. It really depends on your body. Maybe gazing towards the toes, following the breath. And then we're going to come up. And we're going to take a twist here again. So the left arm moves forwards, the right arm moves behind. Okay, so we're starting to find that twist. And again, I'm going to bring my right hand to my left rib cage, get that tactile feedback, and just gently encourage that twist. And it's coming from the rib cage. It's not coming from the lower back. So I'm just reminding myself, reminding my ribs that they're there and that they have the capacity to move. And then I'll come back into the twist. Good. And then you can release the arms and face forwards again. And we'll bring the hands either side of the front foot, plant that front foot down and tuck. And we'll sweep the front foot back and come back onto our knees. So back to where we started. And if you want a bit of cushioning, you can set that up now. Ready for the other side. Left foot comes forwards. Finding that low lunge, a bit more of a hip sort of lunge. So you're getting a stretch across the front of the hip. So you can adjust that front foot. You can move it forwards. You can have a little explore of leaning in. How does that feel? Does it feel good? You don't have to go to maximum. You really, really don't. I wonder if it's necessary to go to our maximum edges. There's still sensation at like 80%. Okay, let's take the left fingertips up, float them up, float, 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 find your twist. Good. And then we can use that tactile feedback, yeah, hands to ribs. If it serves you, if you're like, I don't know, I don't like it, I don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. It's just an option. But I get a lot from tactile feedback in the body. It's like waking my brain up to the fact that these parts are here. they're involved in these poses. Good. Let's bring the hand back down to the ground and we'll straighten that front leg out nice and slow, coming up onto the knee. Either hands to hips or fingertips to the floor, or if you want to use your block, you can use a block. Have a play around with it, see what works for you best. Does the spine feel spacious? Do you feel like this is something you can hold for a few breaths? You're not at kind of like screaming point with anything. So just checking in with these questions in your mind, gazing towards the toes, following the breath. And then we'll come up and work into our twist. So just starting to take the right hand forwards, left hand behind. So there we are, we've got the twist, and then we can use the hand to rib cage, just gently encouraging. That's great. And then we'll release the hands and face forwards. Hands either side of the front foot and plant it down. Let's sweep that front foot back. And we'll come into downwards facing dog. So hands, palms to the ground, tuck the toes, lift the knees, lift the hips, find your downwards facing dog. Feet about hip distance apart. Just adjusting in any way, finding what works for you in your body. Does the spine feel long? Use that opportunity to stretch it out. We get that same space in the joints by pushing the ground away again. Wrists, elbows, shoulders. And then we'll slowly pad hands towards feet to come into a forward fold. And you can take hold of either elbow, just hang for a moment, release, relax over the legs. And then releasing the arms, and we'll slowly roll up to standing. So soft knees, press into the feet, rolling up little by little, uncurling to come into our mountain pose. Back to where we began. So we're going to take the block or the brick or the book. Just going to have a little fun with this game. So no need for perfection here. This is an opportunity to move freely. So we're going to start just by taking the book, the block, whatever. It's flat on the hand. We're not holding it. It's tempting to hold it with the fingertips, isn't it? It's just flat on the hand. We're resting it, balancing it. We're going to bring it in underneath the arm. That's it. And then back out again. We'll just do that a couple more times. In and underneath the arm. Good. And back out. One more. In and underneath the arm. And back out. Okay, this time we're going to go all the way. So in, underneath the arm. What do you need to do to take it all the way around? And then it goes up. And it spins again around. Don't worry if you lose the block. It's all a game. This is just fun. You might not get this straight away. That's okay. So maybe let's try again. Under the arm. And around behind. It's a good party trick, isn't it? When we're allowed to go to parties again. Up and around. See if you can balance it. What do you need to do? Maybe you need to go a bit lower. Do you need to bend the knees? Move, counterbalance more. Take it up and round. And you can keep playing with it that way, or you can take it in the other direction. So spin it out and back and up and round to come back in Maybe give that a couple more goes with a sense of playfulness, and there's no right or wrong. We're just having a play, using all that work that we've just done on the wrists and the elbows and the shoulders, because this is why we want to do it. We want to be able to move freely in all directions. Good. Let's take it to the other hand. For me, this is a lot harder on the left side, so you can just begin with that in and out movement. And I find it a lot easier if I look at the block. So where I've been looking at the screen, I'll drop it now, because on the left side it's so much more challenging for me. So I have to look at the block, follow it with my eyes, use my eyes up and around. What's going on in the rest of the body? Does it feel comfortable? Let's take it in the other direction. If it doesn't, stop. Does it feel okay to bend the knees, move the spine, counterbalance? Let's have one more go. And then you can put the block down and come to seated. Let's come to seated. We're going to have the legs outstretched. That's great. Okay. Legs outstretched, coming back to this idea of twisting. So find your sit bones, find your grounding point, the length in the spine, and we're going to draw the right knee up, and then we're going to cross it over the left leg and plant that foot down. So this knee, it kind of wants to tip outwards, so I'm going to hold it with my left hand, hug it in. And as I begin to hug the right knee with the left hand, I can begin to twist as well naturally. So you can start to find that twist. That's it, so that you're hugging the knee in towards the chest. Good. And then again, we can do the same thing that we've been doing throughout. We can take our right hand, thread through, find the rib cage. Where's the rib cage? What's it doing? It's here. So I don't want it to be in my lower back, this twist. I want it to come from the rib cage. When you're ready, you can just bring those fingertips behind to support. Follow the breath. Gaze over the shoulder if that feels good in the neck. And then slowly unwinding. Let's take it to the other side, just a small counter twist. That's it, and then we'll switch over legs. So right leg outstretched, left knee bends, take it over, plant the foot down. Right hand hugs left knee. And as you do that, you already start to twist. You already start to twist the body. And then we can use our hand to find the rib cage if that feels good for you, if that works. Maybe that helps you to find the breath too. And then slowly unwinding. Coming back to centre, let's take that small counter twist in the other direction. And then we'll make our way to lying with the knees bent. And we're going to bring the arms back into that cactus shape. So as you lie on the floor, bring the arms back into cactus. And just for a moment, see if you can find that same sense of release into the ground. Can you surrender the body to the ground here with the arms in this position so that the chest is fully open and the shoulders are relaxed and against the ground? Or if it's challenging to find that sense of surrender, just being curious about that and why and where it's challenging. No judgment, it's not wrong, just curious. Where can we find that sense of weight in the body? Gravity pulling us down. Backs of the hands, fronts of the forearms, the elbows, shoulder blades, all connected to the ground, the earth. And then keeping that sense of release in the shoulders and the upper body, we're going to stretch out the right leg, just the right leg, so the left knee's still bent along the ground. So the right leg's along the ground, that's it, and the left knee's bent, and the left foot is just touching the right knee. We're going to push that left foot into the ground to lift the bum off the ground and shift over onto the right hip. So what's happening is the pelvis has twisted and you're coming onto the hip, and you're just going to rest your foot on the right leg. Left foot rests on right leg. The upper body, shoulders, cactus arms, haven't moved at all. So we've got that ability to move the pelvis without moving fully, rolling that shoulder off the ground. Shoulders releasing, chest open. And then slowly come back to centre and switch the legs over. As much as you can, keep that sense of relaxation in the upper back. And the right knee bends and the foot comes to the floor. We can press into the foot to lift the bum off the floor, come onto the left hip, so you're shifting over onto the left hip and just resting right foot, rests lightly on left leg. Check in with the shoulders, the arms, back of the neck. And then slowly coming back to centre. And perhaps with very little movement at all, just settling your body comfortably, ready for Shavasana, for relaxation. However that looks for you, whether it's on your back with your palms face up alongside you, or maybe having the hands resting on the abdomen or on your side or your front, just settling the body comfortably. The breath softening. The weight increases, the body on the ground. beginning to deepen the breath. Deep, energizing breaths. Finding that rise and fall in the abdomen. And bringing some gentle feeling into the fingers, the toes, any other parts of the body that want to move or shift. When you're ready, taking a stretch overhead, pointing fingers away, toes away, taking a full body stretch. And drawing the knees into the chest, hugging the knees in. Maybe rocking from side to side a little if that feels good. And slowly rolling over onto your side. Making your way to a comfortable seated position with the gaze soft or the eyes closed. Let's bring the hands together at the heart. Connect the palms together. Bringing the hands up between the eyes and folding forwards towards the mat. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you, guys.